Hey guys, welcome back again for this album review series. We've kind of had another a little bit of a delay, for a sec there, and releases. I've been kind of working in a different location for the past 2 weeks, but now we're back. All right, I swear it's been one thing after another already this year, but hey, we're just powered on through it, right? But now that I'm back in my home, for instead of kind of being on the go in a different location, we can get back into business, because I got all these the ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies should be coming up Saturday. We've got I'm still contemplating the ranking of the Judas Priest albums and trying to figure out where things are lying there. But of course, we've had our various wrestling reviews and stuff. Those I've been able to do while I was gone because that's just a quick little deal on the computer. And that'll, especially those will be really fun coming up because we've got WrestleMania weekend and all that. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up that I can actually jump back into and sink my teeth into again now that some of the chaos in my life is kind of slowing down a little bit. So we're back at things, and of course we are talking about the final Fixx album of the '80s. We're talking about Calm Animals here. Really, really cool album cover here. They kind of went back to this, they went back to the same artist. Let me see, George Underwood, who did the first, not the first, but Reach the Beach, Phantoms, those artworks, as well as he's done quite a few artworks for album covers for a lot of different bands as well. So I'm a big fan of this artwork. The Secret Separation one was, Walkabout. There I go again, calling that album that. But it was a decent little album cover, right? But I'm more of a fan of just this kind of artistic approach they take on this. So, and it fits the album very well. Really cool looking. I've even got this one's my copy here's even got the little promo sticker still on it. So really cool stuff. But one thing for sure, that is a big element as we'll go through these tracks here is you'll see that they now have the bass player is using a fretless bass. And what's his name, Danny Brown, yeah, he's using a 5-string fretless bass, it says here. So that has really impacted the sound and given this album a very unique feel. And I'm a sucker for that fretless bass. Tony Franklin being like an awesome fretless bass player and just bass player overall, for Blue Murder, and he's been a slew of other projects, bands, and all that. But anyways, guys, let's hop right on into this thing with the opening track, "I'm Life." Really cool track. Kind of a more of an upbeat one that kind of gets you going, right off the bat. However, this is kind of the rare case where the opening track is actually my least favorite on the album. This is another case where it's not a bad song, but it's kind of the most forgettable for me off here. But I do think it's a solid track, nothing against it per se. It just kind of doesn't stand out and shine as brightly as some of these other ones do. Speaking of which, the second one is one of the best ones off here, "Driven Out." Another kind of keeping the upbeat pace going. A really, really hooky chorus going on in this one. This is where you really start to hear that that prominent fretless bass sliding around, coiling like a snake, very cool. I just love the sound of a fretless bass. I need to get me one soon, right? Yeah, "Driven Out's" a really good song, and I think it may have even served better as the opening track, even though, again, "I'm Life" is a good opening track, but "Driven Out" also kind of has that upbeat pace to it, and just that really, really hooky chorus that, the opening track should, kind of make you be like, oh, this got me, and now I'm wanting to stay more. And not that "I'm Life" doesn't do that, but it doesn't necessarily do it to the same degree as I think maybe "Driven Out" does, right? Then we go with, man, this was probably my either favorite or second favorite. It comes between two on this one, but "Subterranean." Man, there's even like some cool, Jamie West Storm, the guitar player, he definitely kind of experiments a little bit with some of the guitar sound on this album, kind of having some more distortion at moments in here, but like not into like a heavy metal sounding way, right? Just kind of a slight little distortion, and especially like on the opening of this thing where he's sliding and just, playing the notes there on Subterranean, very cool. And it's got a cool bass groove, kind of a spacey sound. And then it kind of, during the chorus, there's kind of that ringing, iconic Jamie West Orm guitar sound that we know him for. And that Subterranean is one of the best damn Fixx songs out there. Love, love, love this one. Such a hidden gem there. Then we go with kind of a softer one here with Precious Stone. I really love this one too. Really kind of, because even though Subterranean kind of has more of a groove to it and isn't as fast paced, it does kind of have more of like a bigger chorus. Precious Stone is kind of like a soft, kind of chill, soothing track that is really good. That I really dig this one. The vocal work from Cy Curnin on here is fantastic on this track. So another solid one. And then we close out the side, I believe. Doesn't list it as side 1, side 2, but as I was just listening to it earlier, if I'm not mistaken, Gypsy Feet was the last track on side 1. And this is another solid one that I really forgot about. That kind of keeps that more, somber kind of just chill tone that Precious Stones kind of had. And really kind of keeps that smooth sounding level, and I think that's a really cool track, and it definitely reminds me kind of a Precious Stone, but really in kind of like that ambience from those that, from a lot of the Reach the Beach and Phantoms era kind of is present on both Precious Stones and Gypsy Feet. So then we head on over to side 2 with Calm Animals, the title track. This one's cool. There's kind of, Cy Curnin's kind of making like some kind of animal sounding noises, but like not too blunt about it, like still using like it as a singing kind of way. Really cool. Really dig this song. In fact, this is another one that I kind of forgot how good it was, because it had been a minute since I jammed this thing all the way through. But it's another solid one. Then we go on to Shred of Evidence, which this is probably my other like least favorite. I would say I probably like it better than I'm Life, but not by much. It's a decent song with a decent little chorus. Just not as much going on here. And, almost kind of a filler track, but not a bad song. But like, it's one that kind of, it's kind of forgettable as far as like, especially long gaps in between listens to this album. It kind of slips under the radar a little bit. Here's the other one that is like top notch, either 1 or 2 between the Subterranean and this one, The Flow. Such a cool sounding song. I love this. Is like something you'd hear off like Phantoms or something, right? There's like that just that chime sounding guitar again from Jamie West Orm, that it just is such an awesome distinct feature of his guitar playing, and just a really, really chill one too. And then I think Cy Curnin's vocals on this one too are just fantastic. He kind of softly kind of sinks into it, with Precious Stone, or kind of like Precious Stone and Gypsy Feet, but then like that second verse or the second verse after that first chorus kind of kicks in, the drums start kind of kicking in, and he's just like flawlessly, it sounds like, just kind of wailing out different, and just in such a smooth way, belting out these vocals that are just awesome. The Flow's one of my favorite Fixx songs. Very chill track, but also just very, very impressive too. Like especially like that chorus is so hooky, man. I'm telling you. Then we go with World Weary. Another one that's kind of down there as well for me as far as my favorites go, but it is still a solid track, right? I do like it better than like Shred of Evidence or I'm Life, but it's just not as good as like a bulk of some of this other stuff we've talked about. But it is another solid one that I kind of forgot about how good it is. And we close things off with Cause to Be Alarmed, which is a really solid closer. And yet again, another one that I just kind of, it's been like a couple years since I've jammed through this album all the way through. So some of these tracks, it is really like revisiting these things after quite some time. But Cause to Be Alarmed was one that, you know, is kind of, I'm like, damn, I forgot about that one, you know, and I think it's a very solid closer, and one that, you know, as I keep listening to this thing, you know, as we go along, is going to be one that kind of hops up in like kind of the ranking of these tracks. I don't think it quite touches Subterranean or Precious Stones or the Flow and some of that stuff, but it's a really solid track that I think is only going to continue to grow on me. With you know, listens going forward. So just awesome album here. Quite the gem. This is not really an album that had like a lot of hits really, because you know, even Walkabout had like Secret Separation as being not the biggest hit, like stuff off of like some of the stuff off Phantoms and Reach the Beach and all that. But Secret Separation was a hit nonetheless. This one, I guess maybe it probably had some hits off of it, but it not to the degree in any sense of the prior albums. So, you know, this is where the popularity, I guess, kind of started droning away a little bit for the band. But, you know, that makes this kind of, you know, that hidden gem of an album that I've always really, really liked this album. It's just, it had been so long since I heard it. So it was very fun to dive back into this thing. But I've always known, you know, Subterranean and The Flow and Precious Stone and Gypsy Feet, like those being very, very solid tracks that are amongst, you know, the best of the Fixx's discography. So Calm Animals, really, really awesome album that I highly suggest people check out, you know, especially if you've not gone past Walkabout before. This is one that just kind of slips under the radar. And I'll say the same thing with the next one that we look at. Pretty much the rest of these guys' discography kind of goes, unfortunately, more unnoticed to the more and more unnoticed as we go along through the years. You know, because we're hopping into the 90s next time with their album Ink, which will be really fun to jump into. And, you know, the 90s, they were not very popular at all, if you know, and still, and arguably still kind of recovering from their steep decline in popularity, which has kind of piked up, you know, a little bit, or peaked up a little bit there. And over the past maybe 10 years, especially after like their, you know, their 2012 album and such, they've become more popular than they were in like the 2000s and 90s. So we're about to enter kind of a weirder era of the band coming up with some of this 90s and 2000s stuff. But, you know, we'll check out, we get to check out what Ink is like if you've not ever heard that before. And we'll get to talk about that next time. That album it'll be fun looking into that one. That one kind of is the mark as that transition, like, or almost, really, I wouldn't even say it's the transitional album. It's kind of that last hanging on to the sound they were kind of known for before they kind of go off the rails a little bit. So it'll be fun to hop back into that one. Very excited for that. But anyways, guys, stay tuned. Let me know what you think about this album, if you've heard it before, what your thoughts are on it, you know, what your thoughts on the Fixx's popularity and kind of how it's shifted through the years. Should they be more popular? Is there a reason why they're not? You know, it's an interesting thing for sure. So, yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Let's talk about some of this stuff down there, and stay tuned for, like I said, we've got the WrestleMania reviews coming up. Very excited for that. And then, of course, NXT Stand and Deliver will be happening the same weekend. So I'll plan on getting all those pay-per-view reviews up like Monday or so. Then we've got the ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, which, of course, what will go with it is that ranking of the Leatherface appearances. So that'll, you know, kind of be a 2 for 2 there. Not in the same day, but, you know, those videos will pair together. Then we've got, you know, the ranking of the Judas Priest that's still coming up. I'm just still plotting and thinking about where I want stuff to go in that ranking. So stay tuned, guys. A lot of fun stuff going on, and glad to kind of be back where in my home and not really out and about, traveling about in a spot where I'm not able to do my stuff. So anyways, guys, like, subscribe, comment. Thanks so much.